We know Monty Ossenford can crush the draft. We know Monty Ossenford can make the tough calls in free agency. Hell, we know Monty Ossenford can extend his own. James Conner, Budda Baker, and we assume Trey McBride. Does Monty Ossenford have the gusto to come March and wheel and deal to get the Cardinals over the hump? I think he's got it. I think we're going to project it right now. I think we know what is in the best interest of the Arizona Cardinals and Monty Ossenford. And again, I want to preface this mock free agency with the fact that Bo and I said Cardinals need to get better position of needs. And yes, these moves would fit under the cap circumstance, but the Cardinals would have to go in an uncomfortable spot in a couple of them. Guess what? Welcome to the NFL. Teams that nickel and dime and pinch pennies aren't playing in January. So with all that to say, Bo, let's take a look. Let's peel back the layers. Our 2025 mock free agency, Bo, get us started.
Yeah, that's right. Monty Ossenford from Rod Tidwell to Jerry Maguire. Monty, show them the money. Let's take a look at it right now. Damon, let's see the goods. The top priority, or I guess the headliner of this would be for the Arizona Cardinals to go out, make a 4-year contract deal with Chiefs guard Trey Smith to come from the Chiefs, perennial Super Bowl contender, to team up with Paris Johnson Jr. to protect Kyler Murray's blind side and be the Cardinals' left guard, the 25-year-old Trey Smith. That is the headliner here of our free agent additions here in our dream offseason.
He is, outside of T. Higgins, the top-rated free agent. He's 25. He's going to turn 26 before next season. He only allowed 1 sack this year for Kansas City. He is a consistent winner. He's got a hell of a durability. He's started all 11 playoff games he has played in. Again, missed 1 game since 2022. Somebody who is at the peak of his career. You're going to get the 3 to 4 best career years from Trey Smith. I don't care about the Bears sniffing around him right now. I don't care about competition. If he hits the open market, the Cardinals presumably are going to upgrade at left guard. They have nickel and dime with Evan Brown. They brought back Will Hernandez on a minimal deal. Here's what I'm going to ask everybody. You're not paying Paris yet, or Yelda, or Isaiah Adams, or Kelvin Beachum. You got to go out and get a blue chipper on the offensive line. And if you got to cut a check for $80, $90, $100 million with 50 or 60 guaranteed, go ahead and do that. This is a culture setter. This is the anti-Rodney Hudson that you got 5 years too late. Trey Smith is our blue chip coup de grace addition. And Cardinals, go out and get the best player in free agency, please.
If they do that, it's Paris Johnson Jr., it's Trey Smith, it's Yelda Froholt, it's Isaiah Adams, and then you're just figuring out right tackle for the future. I mean, you pretty much got your offensive line, set it and forget it for the foreseeable future. That would be a massive addition for Monty Ossenford. Let's stay in the trenches, but get on the defensive side of the football. A lot of you in the chat fire this name out on a daily basis. Going to Jonathan Gannon's old stomping grounds, the Philadelphia Eagles, to get a little beef. Milton Williams, Johnny, 25-year-old defensive lineman, plays about 30-40% of the snaps, but would join a rotation, I think would be the next highly coveted addition to the Cardinals team this offseason.
You mentioned he played in Philadelphia. He's got a familiarity with the Cardinals coaching staff. 6 sacks this year from a nose tackle. Let me repeat that. He's a man who weighs 300 pounds and had 6 sacks. That would have, led the Cardinals this year. His 90 pass rush grade in the NFL is only behind Chris Jones. Ever heard of him at defensive line? He will hit free agency. They've got Jordan Davis, right? They've got, of course, Jalen Carter. He's a little bit up and down in the run defense. That's okay. Guess what the Cardinals can do? Okay. They can stop the run. They can scheme that up. What can they not do? They can't rush the passer. This is why you let Roy Lopez go, so you can upgrade. Then you have a starting defensive line, a front 3 or 4, Darius Robinson, Milton Williams, Justin Jones, and you rotate. Dante Stills, Bilal Nichols, maybe somebody via the draft. You raise the floor. Milton Williams immediately becomes your best front 7 player. Somebody, again, 6'3", 300 pounds, 25 years old. The theme of it, you're going to get the best years of Trey Smith. You're going to get the best years of Milton Williams. These are the 2 gems of free agency for the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, I love it. RIP, the big O fever dream for this podcast, but Milton Williams, not the consolation prize. I think the belle of the ball on the defensive line side of things. You couple him with Darius Robinson, you've got the pass rush, you got the run stopping from your two defensive linemen there. Let's keep it going. Let's continue to look at our free agent additions here in the 2025 offseason for the Arizona Cardinals. Hassan Reddick, Johnny, it has to just tickle you that we go to get the former Cardinals first round draft pick, bring him back, maybe to even end this season. Bit of a modest deal here, kind of a prove it from Hassan Reddick. We're projecting 2 years here for the 30 to be 31-year-old pass rusher out of Temple.
I would ask everybody, if you want Trey Smith and Milton Williams, there's probably not a reality in which you can sign Josh Sweat. And Bo and I deemed Milton Williams the number 1 D tackle and Trey Smith the number 1 guard, and both were in their mid-20s, and both we had rated higher than Josh Sweat as players. So in that reality, when you have to go cheaper at edge rusher, you bring back Baron Browning and you bring in Hassan Reddick, who, by the way, Hassan Reddick at his best is better than Josh Sweat. He's just a little bit older. This is not the end-all be-all edge rusher. We've got more moves to come, specifically in the draft. But I think that, again, we're ranking this based off of need, but also a value of position available. Trey Smith and Milton Williams are just higher quality players than Josh Sweat, so we're prioritizing them at 25 years old, respectfully. Reddick can come in, as Bo mentioned, reclamation project for Jonathan Gannon. A lot of teams probably not interested, right? Comes in humbled, comes into a familiar place, played for the Cardinals, played for Rollis, played for Jonathan Gannon, has a bunch of ex-teammates on the roster. We're going to get to one here in a second. Hassan Reddick comes in here under the radar, ready to kick ass and take names in the NFC West next year. Book it, double-digit sacks en route. 2-year deal, so you don't have to force somebody to start next year if they're not ready. Have somebody like B.J. Ojulari learn from him. So, I know people want to critique this. There is no Danielle Hunter. There is no Jonathan Grenard. There is no Andrew Van Ginkel. Outside of Sweat, you got to get creative. Somebody was sending me information on Khalil Mack this morning. He's 100 years old. No thanks. Reddick will do just fine for the next 2 years in Cardinal red and white.
Did you block that person? Did you block their number?
No, they just tagged me in something. It wasn't their fault, but I saw that and I'm like, I don't want Khalil Mack and his walker anywhere near this organization. Khalil Mack's been around for 20 years. No thanks.
Yeah, 33 years old. He's going to hit the free agent market. He did decide he's coming back, but I love it and love the kind of in a homecoming in a sense, the team that drafted him, but they're not going to fumble his development any longer. He's going to come in here. He's going to be an established vet with 4 double-digit sack seasons under his belt, maybe a 5th incoming, reuniting with his old defensive play caller and Jonathan Gannon and Nick Rollis too. Speaking of Nick Rollis, obviously a background in linebackers. We mentioned, Kazir White letting him walk, and it seems like that's what's happening with the Cardinals linebacker who had 137 tackles this year. So you got to find an off-ball linebacker to couple with Mac Wilson Sr., and we've got Jamie Sherwood from the Jets, who had a breakout campaign, just going to be 25 years old. He was their MVP this season amidst all the dysfunction, Johnny. This is a guy that is a tackling machine. He's got some cover skills. I just think that he would be a good fit, just kind of a younger version of what you already get from Kazir.
Yeah, he's, again, somebody that coming out of Auburn, he's played 4 years in the NFL, but here's what I like that you had mentioned. He's great in coverage. The Cardinals, for whatever reason, are parting ways with Kazir White. I would assume it's because the limitations with turnovers, the limitations with impact plays. The Cardinals can find linebackers that can stop the run. Hell, Chris Barnes can do that. You get a guy in Sherwood that can come in here and hopefully give the Cardinals an ability to play the run and the pass. You've got a revamped front seven. You get a guy in here that, hopefully can intercept some passes, can force a couple fumbles, right? Can reach his ceiling under Jonathan Gannon and Nick Rollis. And I'll be honest, Bo and I went back and forth on a couple off-ball linebackers. Yeah. But one thing was the common denominator. We liked youth and athleticism, and we trust Nick Rollis and JG to get the most out of that position. Mac Wilson Sr. was under the radar last year, was one of the last free agents signed by this team at the end of the week. He ended up being the free agent MVP for this team, and it wasn't close. So If they show interest in a guy like Sherwood, given his age and athletic ability, his resume, I would imagine high-end production is going to follow suit.
Yep. That's kind of like you're outside of Reddick, your prime age candidates. Something we had talked about when we looked at the struggles of Kyler Murray down the stretch was having somebody, say he turns the football over. It's an unsuccessful offensive series. Being able to go there and chat about the previous series and what he was seeing from the opposing defense with one of his peers. And I don't think Kyler Murray the last 2 seasons has had that opportunity. It's been Kyler. It's been Clayton Tune as his backup, for a rookie to a second-year guy with 1 game's experience where he was thrown to the Wolves against the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
Doesn't have a whole lot of, hey, I've seen these live reps against NFL defenses. I think a guy like Jacoby Brissett, got him on this list, gives Kyler Murray that peer-to-peer ability to kind of look at, where the defenses are attacking him and maybe where they can find some soft spots, and just having a vet quarterback there with Kyler playing all 17 games before this season. That was tough to get to. A guy like Jacoby Brissett having kind of a quintessential backup, it's kind of overdue at this point.
32 years old, that Colt McCoy shoulder to lean on, breaking down film, breaking down coverages, going back to the huddle, going back to the sideline. Jacoby Brissett is not going to push Kyler Murray for a starting job. Kyler Murray, if he's healthy, is going to play all 17 games next year. That's not what this offseason is about. It's about raising the talent floor and giving Kyler Murray another coach-esque player in the room. And then if it doesn't get it done, then 2026's offseason is about finding the heir apparent. Yeah. But go look at the free agent quarterbacks. It's a lot of Andy Dalton, Marcus Mariota, and overpaying Sam Darnold. So Brissett was a name we targeted last offseason, and he went to New England and started games. I don't think he's going to have that many options this year to be a starter, if any. And I think the Cardinals would behoove themselves to bring in a high football IQ player like Brissett into their locker room.
Yeah. It was an Angel asking, do we think that Trey Smith's going to get Robert Hunt money, over $100 million for a guard position? That's
whatever
it's going to take. But got to take a big swing. And that's a guy at the right age that's worthy of an investment, especially when you've got the cap space to pay the mortgage on that one. And then the last one, you're probably like, wait a second, this guy's not a free agent. Well, could be a cap casualty. I'm reading a lot of Jags blogs today, and Christian.
Sorry about that.
It's all right. Look, I was getting sick. I was getting in the weeds. I was trying to the best way, the dream off season. If the Jags want to turn their trash into the Cardinals gold, let's do it. They made that big splash a couple off seasons ago, and they gave Christian Kirk kind of this head scratching contract where he was making, $17, $18 million a season, upwards of $80 million in total money. And now they're starting to say, okay, maybe we can't afford that luxury anymore with paying a quarterback and Trevor Lawrence. Christian Kirk, according to most of the Jags publications, is an absolute serious cut candidate for them. And I think Arizona Cardinals could benefit from that and upgrading at the slot receiver position.
The prodigal son returns out of Scottsdale, Arizona, former second-round pick and one of the most productive wide receivers with Kyler Murray. Could you get him on a 1-year deal? Christian Kirk, what does he do? He plays the slot. Cardinals need a slot receiver. What do they need? A deep threat. Still averages over 14 yards per catch last year. One of the most efficient route runners when he's healthy, and somebody, again, that brings leadership and experience to the receiving core. This is not Zay Jones and Zach Pascal. This is a gamer. This is somebody that the Cardinals really wanted to keep, but the Jaguars screwed the market 2 years ago, and they paid for it. Christian Kirk's last year in Arizona, 77 catches, just under 1,000 yards, 13 yards per catch. His yards per catch has gone up since he left Arizona. So there's still tread on those tires. Again, he's 28 years old. He fits the criteria. And again, you're going to have to give him a decent amount of money for a year. I could see about $10 million, but that would be worth it as long as you have a firm commitment from you-know-who, Mr. Drew Petzing, that the offense is going to open up. Marvin and Michael Wilson on the outside, Trey at tight end, and Christian Kirk underneath. I mean, like we were thinking to ourselves, we're going to let Greg Dortch, test the market. Let's take a look at the free agent wide receivers. Oh my God, I want to pour bleach in my eyes. It's not good. It's a really tough spot to be in.
Yeah.
Can the Cardinals afford to draft another receiver high? Probably not, certainly in the first 2 rounds. This makes too much sense if it becomes available. We also kicked around the idea, it's if he's floated out there via a trade and you could get him for a late day 3 pick, eat a little bit of salary, certainly not all the $24 million. I would be open to that as well, but he fits perfectly into what the Cardinals need. Plus, I mean, he is big. Like, I think people think Christian Kirk's a smaller guy. He's 5'11", 200 pounds. So he definitely could play that part in Drew Petzing's offense.
Yeah, and he's got the relationship, the past relationship with Kyler, and there's no animosity there. It was just Kirk went and got played the market and got a great deal, right? Former Saguaro star went in Texas A&M and made his way into the second round to the Arizona Cardinals and made some big plays. That's what this offense needs. Christian Kirk throughout his career has made big explosive plays. And the year before he left via free agency, he was only behind Cooper Kupp as far as slot yardage. So you need a slot receiver. You need a vet. I think that Michael Wilson and Marvin Harrison Jr. can, continue to learn from, mature under. I just think it would be a great addition for the Cardinals. AZ Cardinals asking, why not Jedrick Wills? Knows Petzing quite well from Cleveland and pending free agent. He's somebody we looked at, Johnny. Jedrick Wills is a guy, obviously, is a top draft pick, one of the quick risers as far as one of the top tackles in the league. And then his production's fallen off a cliff. And he's also dealt with a lot of injuries. I view him as like a Mekhi Beckham type guy, reclamation project. Like, wouldn't mind kind of kicking the tires on him, but at the same time, like, I wouldn't probably prioritize him in the dream offseason scenario.
Cardinals' best coach position group is their offensive line. I would just say trust their ability to develop offensive linemen. Trey Smith is a unicorn that is tops at his position. There is nobody like that at right tackle. The Cardinals, and we're going to get to our mock draft here around the corner, are a draft and develop team with Paris and Isaiah Adams, right? And Kelvin Beachum can hold the fort down until the heir apparent at right tackle is ready. Also with Kyler Murray, tackle play is important, but it's not as important as interior offensive line play. You have to be able to keep him upright. You have to be able to keep those defensive linemen, those D tackles at 6'4", 6'5" downfield so Kyler can see. That's not a knock on him. That's just the reality. Kyler Murray is one with a lot of subpar right tackles in the NFL. He can't win with a poor interior offensive line. And I just so happen to think that this draft in particular is going to gift the Arizona Cardinals the perfect bookend tackle to build along with Paris Johnson Jr.